What were your favorite matches in Smoky?
Favorite matches? I had a singles match with Robert Gibson one time, which was awesome. It just was a lot of fun. Again, here I am with someone that I watched in a singles match with Robert. And it really wasn't anything dynamic about the match. I think it was just a point. And there's a picture at the end of the match. Robert goes over. Glenn and I tried doing a double team on him to go over on him, and he ends up fucking us. We try hitting him with our finish, and he fucks us on it. And there's a picture I have of me sitting in the middle of the ring just pouting. And I'm just like pouting. But the whole time I'm pouting, I'm trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, because Robert was just laughing. That was a lot of fun. Tracy and White Boy were just so much fun. Because Tracy would dance, we would dance. That's how the whole stupid dance is all created. Because Tracy would do something stupid, we would do something back. So those were fun, and that's all we pretty much worked was Tracy and White Boy, because Tracy and White Boy were in the angle with the gangsters when we first came in. So when we first started and they left, and Cornette's like, "I need you guys on the road right away." That's who we worked. Mm. So we had to kind of finish up their angle, however we did that. But those were the most fun. They were the most memorable because that's who we worked the most.
Wow. So what did you guys do next once between Smoky closing and you going to WWE?
Went home, got back in contact with Axel, and that's when MEWF and was all running down in Maryland. So we started, and we got in with I don't know, Tom Cusati.
Oh yes, everybody knows Tom.
We know Tom. Yes. We got in with Tom, and then Tom took care of us. Tom booked us on all those shows, all in the Northeast. He would take us up to New York, all in Baltimore, Maryland. We lived in Baltimore, Maryland every weekend, probably for, they shut down in what, November? Probably for almost a year. And then we got, I don't remember the lady's name. Al Snow knew her really well.
Phyllis Lee?
Phyllis Lee.
Okay.
Phyllis got us some bookings in like Detroit. And out in Michigan and stuff like that. And we would drive out there, and then we would drive back. And I actually was working at a car wash, and I'd steal the change out of people's cars, and that's how I made my car payments 6 months in a row. $260.66 for the car payments with coins. Wow. But that's what we did. And that's what we did till Cornette called us.
Wow. Did you ever think at that time that I might have to give up on this wrestling thing?
Not really, not at that point, because again, I was single.
Yeah.
I had no responsibility. The only one who had responsibility was Glenn. Because he was married, with the baby, and the other baby then eventually was on the way. But again, I had no responsibility, no nothing. And at that point, Cornette had told us, hey, I'm talking to them. I'm going to see what I can do for you guys. I'm going to see what I can do. I can see what I can do. So at that point, I still had no worries.
Yeah.
I was still wrestling every night, making a little bit of money to get by, and still just trying to live the dream.
Did you find it, just knowing the area, I find it kind of odd that ECW didn't pick you up because you're right in the area here and you had the experience.
Well, that's when we went there after Memphis, and the whole thing with the heat. Somehow there was heat with Paulie and Larry Sharp.
Yeah.
And Paulie knew we were Larry's boys, and we had went to that show. Then we went back one more time, and he just kind of squashed us. So we were like, what's the point? If you're just going to beat us up and try to hurt us, what's the point? And at that point, I really, you know what? Those guys are amazing for what they did. ECW, original ECW with the tables and the bats and the barbed wire and the thumbtacks. Amazing. Not for me.
Yeah.
I gigged a couple times and was like, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So, like Axel, what he did to his body and the scars are amazing. What Taz did, amazing. Sandman, all of them, amazing what they did there. Wasn't me.
Yeah.
Just wasn't. That's not what we wanted to do. So that's another reason why we didn't go back.
Wow. So how did you wind up getting into WWE at that point?
They had started the part-time contract, they called it. That's when they brought in Tom Brandi as Salvatore Sincere, Tracy Smothers as Freddie Floyd, Dirty White Boy as the TL Hopper, the Goon as the golf, the hockey player. The concept behind it was we want to have guys, give them a couple wins on TV, bring them into TV, and then have them put over other guys that we're trying to push. Cornette called us. We had our little pagers. We in West Virginia in the rain in a puddle on the payphone, sharing the phone. That he got a message, so we called him back, and he goes, WWE where were they? They were in Hartford, And then right after that, they were like in Maryland. So Jimmy was trying to get us on just to get us a payday to get up there. And he called us and he goes, all right. He goes, I have good news. We're like, all right. He goes, you guys are in. We're like, yes, because we were getting $500. That's $1,000. That's a freaking gold mine. So we're like, yes. And he goes, but I have some different news too. We're like, okay. He goes, I went into Vince. I said, Vince, I got these 2 guys. Just want you to look at them. Give them a dark match. They're coming up. They're already booked. Give them a dark match. Want you to look at them. Vince goes, Vince is in a good mood. Vince goes, well, tell me something about them. He goes, well, I'm sure you've seen them before. They're the Spiders. They come up with the masks on. He goes, yeah. He goes, I know those guys. And he was like, yeah. He goes, I want you to come up, take a look at them. He goes, I don't need to look at them. Put them under the part-time contract.
Wow.
So Cornette goes, you guys are coming up. You got part-time contracts. And we were like, holy shit. Part-time contract. You were guaranteed the 4 TVs a month, which was $500 a TV. So we're like, guaranteed $2,000 a month. They paid expenses at TVs. We're like, jackpot. This is awesome. Foot's in the door. And then from there, the gimmick we got it over. We got the gimmick over with carrying the radio and just being silly and goofy. And we just kind of took off from there.
Wow. And so did you ever think about going back into teaching right before you obviously got the part-time deal? Nah.
No. When we were in Arkansas, like I said, I substitute taught.
Yeah.
But I did that just to get by. Once I got in the ring, when I had that first match 3 weeks in on WWF TV against Adam Bomb, I remember going home. No, not even going home. I had called my mom from a gas station, and I told her, I just did this, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you actually got in the ring? I'm like, yeah. I said to her, this is the greatest thing ever. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to be a wrestler. And from that point on, I never looked back at anything.
Did you ever try to get into WCW?
Glenn had a couple tryouts. Right before Cornette called us, we were trying to get some tryouts with them right before we signed with WWF.
Yeah.
But not after that, no. Once I was in WWF, I said, my life is set.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And that obviously was way wrong and dumb. Again, another thing I would have thought differently if I did it now than I did way back then. But again, hindsight's 20/20. You learn as you go.
Wow. So when you started on the part-time contracts, did you start as the Headbangers? Because I know you did the Nun thing, which I'll talk about momentarily.
Yeah, came in as the Headbangers. Vince has this thing he wants to create people.
Mm-hmm.
If you come in with your own gimmick, he's going to do everything in his power to change it. And that's where the Sisters of Love thing came up. And actually what benefited us was the Shotgun Saturday Nights. They did the live Shotgun Saturday Nights in the nightclub because we were local. We lived in South Jersey. They would have us come up. There was only one live Shotgun Saturday Night we did not do. And that's because we could drive up. They didn't have to fly us in. That's when we were working Doug and Phil, doing all those matches, but they would get us in because we could drive up, we would drive home, no hotel, there was no nothing. And that's kind of one of the ways I think that we got the character over was that. And then that's when Vince had called us up to the office, had us come to the office and had this other idea, this thing I want you to do, we need you to go over to this costume lady. And again, we had no idea. We're like, what do we need costumes for? Well, we wear thrift store from the Salvation Army. We wear skirts. And she starts telling us, showing us these outfits, and we're like, nuns. And again, we were like, we're here. I'll do whatever you want us to do. I didn't care. So that was funny too, because I remember Vince saying, he goes, okay, we're going to send you over to this church. We want you to do this thing. We'll take a couple pictures in front of the church. This is how perfect Vince was when he was planning. Glenn and I are standing up at the church, and we're standing there, and we're praying like this. And I'm Catholic. I was an altar boy and everything. So I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh, what the fuck? I said, we're going to burn in hell for this. Like, this is crazy. All of a sudden, Vince's timing was impeccable. Church doors open. Here come all the people.
Oh, my God.
And he's got a camera down there. And I'm like, oh, shit. So here I am. I'm 6'2", Glenn's 6'4". We're both 230, 240. These flying nun outfits on. People start dropping to their knees and bowing to us. And they're praying to us. So they look up. This one lady looks up. I had the goatee. Glenn's got the nose chain in, going from his nose to his ear with his nose pierced. Lady looks up and she goes, oh my God, it's Satan. You're going to burn in hell. This is not a joke. This is not funny. What is wrong with you, blah? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh fuck. We get in the limo. We jump in the limo and I go, oh fuck. I go, what is this? I'm like, what are they thinking? This is fucked up. All of a sudden, the visor comes down and Shane turns around. He goes, "That was great." And I was like, He's like, "That was awesome." He goes, "We couldn't have planned that any better." And then they had us do that once. And then the next week, we were down in Texas for Shotgun Saturday Night. They were taping down there. And that was like Bible Belt country.
Yeah.
And Vince, for some reason, because of the Bible Belt, wouldn't let us do it. And then I don't know if he got heat for it or he just wanted to squash it or just see how we when you first get there, everything's a test. They want to test your attitude. They want to test if you complain. So I don't know if it was a test for us. Like they wanted to see how we'd react if we bitch or complain. So the next week they had us get arrested outside the Disney store saying we were staring at little kids in a Disney store. And then they just let us go to Headbangers again.
Yeah.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.